What's cracking, y'all? Let's get, that's a bad idea. I'm not gonna do that for an intro. One of the more common questions I see around Reddit and Facebook from beginners is they start with a standstill shot and they wanna know how much more distance they can expect from a shot with footwork. I'm hesitant to say run up because that sort of implies you're supposed to be running, which isn't the idea, but how much more distance do you get from getting your weight shift and your whole lower body into the shot? So why would you expect to get more distance using footwork versus standing still? The answer to that has to do with the amount of momentum that you transfer up your body from your feet, through your hips, through your shoulders, into the disc. From a standstill, there's very little momentum that you can generate. You can sort of have a little bit of back and forth motion in your shot, but you really can't generate that much momentum in that short of a span. The same kind of goes for a one step, except it's a little bit more because you're taking that step, you're moving your range of motion from sort of here to all the way across that. So that's going to get a lot more power, but not as much as a full 3-step, 4-step run up. But there are diminishing returns. It sort of starts out with a lot of return. Adding 2 or 3 steps can really add a lot of power, but then it sort of starts to taper off, and we'll see that here when we go to the throws. So to keep everything controlled, I'm throwing from the same spot, aiming for the same landing zone with the same angle and trying to release it at the same. Obviously, I'm not perfect, so I didn't do it the best every time, but I'm aiming for kind of in line with those trees back there with a getaway. So this is a fusion getaway that I'm throwing from a standstill. I'm trying to just keep it on that hyzer angle. I have a very fast wind, about 20 miles an hour right to left. So I figure as long as I don't let the discs flip over, they will all take equal advantage of that wind. So standstill, popped it out there, a little bit of hyzer. It started to turn, but didn't really turn all the way up to flat. I don't quite have enough power for a getaway on my standstill, but it ended up fading out to about 300 feet. So that's a great control. That's kind of, I don't know if that's good or not. We haven't thrown the rest. So 300 feet from a standstill. Moving on to the one-step drill. Now the one-step is something that I think a lot of people should use. It's a great transition from a standstill to a full run-up. It's where you start with your feet together and your weight over your toes, and then you reach back as you extend your front foot forwards. And ideally, you'd have your reach back peak when your front foot hits the ground. So those two things happen at exactly the same time, and that sort of stretches your body out and it can snap back together and send the disc flying. That helps sync up a lot of things in timing. So from this one-step drill, I threw another fusion getaway, and again, it held a hyzer flat, and it didn't get much more distance, but this one's at about 325. All right, so now I'm on to using what my normal run-up is, and my normal run-up is 3.5 steps really. My left foot I generally step onto the tee-pad from. I shouldn't do this. I start from behind the tee-pad, and usually I just take a little step with my left foot just to get on the tee-pad. So using my normal footwork, my normal weight shift, everything, I threw a lucid getaway here, and this one flipped up to flat beautifully and faded out at about 400 feet. And then this one I got a little bit crazy on. You can tell I don't do this very often. I don't take a full sprinting run up because just doesn't feel natural for me. So I started from about 20 feet behind the camera, and I just sent this. This is a hybrid getaway, which I didn't talk about in my getaways video, but the bar stamp hybrid getaways are the most stable. They are beef. And this one I threw pretty much flat, and it just flew flat. I threw it hard enough for sure, but it just didn't have any turn to access. So it was very flat, and then it faded at the end. And this one, let's take a look at the results. Starting with my standstill, this one's right at 300 feet. Moving on, we find my one step right at 325. And then there's not a whole lot in the middle. I thought my one step would go farther, honestly. I thought I would have been able to get a little bit more power on it. And here we have my regular 3-4 step run up and the full-on sprint right next to each other at 400 feet. So I'm not going to say that the touring professionals that are taking those big run-ups and bombing at 550, 600 feet are doing anything wrong. They are throwing way farther than I can. They have practiced that. They have honed that skill in. They know what they're doing for sure. But 99% of the disc golf population is going to sacrifice a ton of consistency by doing that. If you feel like you need to take that big run-up, I guarantee you are not as consistent as you will be if you stick to your 4 steps. So if you are one of those people who feel like you need to take a really big run up, hit the field, try shortening it, see if you get a little bit more control, and if you don't, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want to. I don't really care. Anyway, this disc that I've been holding the whole time is pretty cool, I'd say. I now have custom stamped discs. This is the design that Kevin made for me. He's one of the graphic designers. He designs most of the custom stamps. So if you have a DD tournament, he probably designed the stamp for it. But this is my new logo, and I have Lucid Mavericks, Lucid Verdicts, Lucid Trespasses, Fusion Getaways, and Fusion Wardens with this stamp on it. And it is, until Saturday morning, it is a Patreon or Patreon? I'm not sure. I think it's supposed to sound like patron, so I'm gonna go with Patreon exclusive for now. If you are one of my supporters on Patreon, you will get first dibs on this. You can order whatever you want until Saturday, and Saturday is when it will be open up to the public. So thank you for your support, and watch for these. I'm posting them tonight. Thank you for watching, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back next week, and until then, remember, slow is smooth, and smooth is far. Seriously though, these discs are sick. Look, we've got Fusion Wardens here. We've got the Maverick that I've been holding in my hands the whole time. Fusion Burst Getaways. And then we've got Lucid Verdicts. These are all sparkled. 170 to 172 Trespasses. I'm so excited for these. This is gonna be a bomber for sure.